Welcome to a community update from the Department of Senior Affairs. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Today's title of the show is Alcohol Treatment for Individuals 60 Years and Older. And with us to discuss that is Alyssa Forsymes, the Assistant Professor, UNM Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, and Sandra Warren, Research Coordinator, UNM Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. And ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
I think it's an important topic, and I mentioned I spoke to your colleague Tara McCune about this. We've been trying to get the show together for several months, so we sure appreciate you being on. Alyssa, the first question we have is for you, and you mentioned the alcohol treatment for individuals 60 years and older. The show is centered around senior affairs, and people of really 55, 50 plus. They consider 50 a senior now. So, what brings you here today?
Well, we just wanted to let you know a little bit about what we're doing and what's going on and what's available to people in the community. So what this is really a collaboration between the University of New Mexico and First Choice Community Healthcare, specifically the South Valley location. And so we're working together to implement a study and do this in a real community setting to find out if this treatment for alcohol works.
All right, Sandra, Alyssa touched on that a little bit. Can you tell us some more?
Of course, yeah. So this is a study specifically for people who are 60 and older who have concerns about their alcohol use. It could be yourself, or it could be someone you know. It could be someone, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparent, your parent, a friend, a neighbor, anybody who might be interested. We welcome any and all calls. There is my phone number is on the screen, and feel free to give us a call and ask more questions.
I guess we're going to delve into this a little bit more because alcoholism in New Mexico affects, it's a poor state. I always say poverty breeds a lot of things.
Right.
So I'm sure that you have more information for us here. This study is for people 60 years and older, and why this age group and why now?
Great question. So why this age group? I think that this is really so much of the work that we do is trying to work with underserved communities and underserved populations. And I think this is one that really is underserved. We tend to focus so much more on people who are younger with alcohol problems. And so it's really nice that this is a study specifically focused on what therapies actually work for people who are a little bit older. There are definitely different problems and consequences that people are having as a result of their alcohol use, and so depending on their different age groups. And so this is a nice way of saying, let's find out whether these treatments that we know are evidence-based, the ones that we're using, the therapies that we're providing, the behavioral treatments, are ones that we have been shown to work really well. But this is about saying, does this work now that we take this out of this very strict controlled environment and put this in a community setting? Does this still work as well with this age group?
Someone's going to ask you this, and this is a question when you mention that, is why with older people? Because people are going to say, why don't you start it with younger people? Because intervention, stopping that at a young age, and it's just a question that I had when I heard that. Why with this age group? Why?
Well, because I think that we tend to focus so much of the treatment interventions for people who are earlier in the stages, and there's certainly a need for that. But I think that we don't tend to focus as much on people who are older. We either assume it's okay if they're drinking, they're retired. Right. It's okay if they're drinking. Why change it now? What's the point in doing that? And so this is really about saying, you know what, there are a lot of health consequences that can result from that. People are in a stage of their life when there are a lot of changes taking place, whether they're stopping working, whether they don't have the same family obligations that they might have had while they were raising children. And so this is a time when it's really important to think about what does this person want their life to look like at this point? And so we want to know what works best for this and how we can help that happen. So it's certainly not that younger age group isn't important. We're still doing lots of work with those younger populations, but it's really about wanting to extend this and make sure that we're targeting everyone to the best of our ability.
Okay, all right. Sandra, what happens when someone calls you?
Well, either I or my coworker CJ, who is very friendly and welcoming, will be picking up the phone, and we are more than happy to give you more information, answer any of your questions. And if people qualify for the study, which once you qualify, you will receive treatment, we will set you up for counseling with one of our therapists. They're very qualified, very experienced, and they definitely know to meet you where you're at. So that's something very nice. And so remember that the first step is to make that call and just get more information. There's no obligation for just making that call.
And you'll give us the information about the calls and numbers here
Yes.
in a little bit, I'm sure. Yeah, because that's important. They got to know that.
Right.
Make any calls. So,
Yes.
Alyssa, what is special about this program? And I think Sandra probably touched on a little bit about it. And when you're dealing with humans and counseling and treatment, what is special about this particular program?
Well, I think a couple things make it pretty unique. One is that we have an incredible team. The people who are actually delivering the treatment are very highly trained. They are people who really, really want to work with this population. They are able to conduct the therapy in both English and in Spanish, which is something really great for
Very
the state.
important here, yes.
And they care about wanting to make this work, and so I think that's one thing that makes this work really well, is that these are people who are excited about coming to work every day and wanting to do this. And I think that another part of that's really important is that we're really trying to tailor this to the needs of a population of people who are over 60. So we're wanting to know what's different about that group and how can we best interact. And I think that the treatments themselves that we're actually providing are ones that have been shown to work, so that's good. But then we're wanting to really be able to take that to this next step and make sure that this is something that can be implemented in a community healthcare setting rather than just people needing to come to specialty addiction treatment. So. And then the final thing I would say about it is that the treatments that are being offered here are not what people often think of as addiction treatment. Oftentimes they're afraid that as soon as they come in, they're going to start being yelled at and told, shamed and told, you have to make a change. These are all the things that are going to happen to you. But this is really taking this in a very different way. That's a much more empathic way of really wanting to understand people and meet them where they are, as Sandra said, and treat them with respect and just find out what changes, if any, they want to make.
That's interesting, but I got to ask you this. You mentioned that it's been proven as far as performance or evaluate the treatment, and I just got to ask you this: measured variables. What are you using this to gauge the treatment? What are you using to gauge that? As far as the performances of the treatment, or whatever you want to call it.
Great question. So there's really two parts of this. This is a study. This isn't something that we're just doing as a program and saying, well, we hope it works.
Right.
We want to really know that. We want to be able to have solid data that we can look back at and say, well, this worked, or this part of it didn't work so well. So there are the two parts of the study, if people choose to participate, are both to do these assessments where they come in at different time points. First, coming in before any of the treatment starts so that we can get a baseline and find out how are they doing, not just with regard to their consumption of alcohol use, but also with regard to other measures like consequences of their alcohol use and other health problems that they might be experiencing, how motivated they are to make a change. And so then we conduct those assessments at various points to see how changes happen over time. And then the other part of that is the therapy itself, which is delivered one-on-one with individual counseling, either in English or Spanish.
Okay, we got a roll here. I want to make sure we get all these questions
Okay.
in, but some of those things I had to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Sandra, how long has the study been going on, and what has been your experience so far?
Yes, so we've been doing this for about a year, and we have had a great experience. We have seen a lot of very positive changes, a lot of people maybe finally taking that step and making that change that maybe they were wanting to make for a while, and they finally found maybe support and an opportunity within our program to make that change. So that has been very, very rewarding and very wonderful to see. So yeah, they will get set up with counseling, and like Alyssa said, we have a wonderful team, and there is no other program like this out there offering services specifically for people who are 60 and older. So.
No other program. That's very interesting. I got to keep rolling with these because I want to make sure we get them in. What have been some of the benefits of these services so far, Alyssa?
I think that one of the most rewarding parts of doing this work is seeing lives that are changed, and I think that the therapist and the research assistants, as Sandra can probably attest to, is hearing people say, gosh, this is great, not only just for the person themselves, but for their families and for the community, and to have something like this available in a setting that is less traditional. So it's not having to go to the specialized addiction treatment
Right.
setting.
Different.
It's different because
Different.
it's offered in the primary care setting where people are going anyway,
A little bit more
typically.
comfortable.
Way more comfortable, I
Okay,
think, for
all
people.
right, thinking outside the box there a little
Right,
bit. All
right.
All right, Sandra, what have been some of the challenges? I'm sure there has been some.
Yes. Well, some are even just to get people to know that we are offering the service. And maybe once people know, overcoming some of those stigmas and those challenges about feeling maybe embarrassed or maybe feeling confused about what to do or discouraged that they can actually make a change. So as a team, we're very committed to challenge that and to get people in the door. And so maybe if people are on the fence about whether or not their drinking needs to be addressed or whether or not they're drinking, if they want to make a change in their drinking, we're here to help with that, to help people make those decisions. And our therapists are really, like Alyssa said, really well trained to really meet people where they are and help them make those decisions. And throughout the process, since you make that call to maybe just get more information until you finish the program, if that's what you want to do, there's no pressure. No pressure to sign up, no pressure to continue with a study if you don't want to continue. So it is really always up to you.
You know, Alyssa, you mentioned that your study is located in a primary care setting. Why does that matter?
I think it matters because more and more we're moving treatments for addiction outside of the specialty setting. People don't want to go there often. There's sometimes a lot of a stigma associated with walking into a place that says addiction treatment right on the front. And there's also logistical problems. Sometimes the waiting lists are so long that it's hard for people to get in the time that they are ready to start thinking about making a change. And so offering this in a primary care setting allows people to have, it's more of this holistic model of let's work with people and allow them to get the services they need in the same building so that we don't need to send them out and make referrals that people often don't actually end up following through
Right.
on.
One last question. We only have time for one more, and then Alyssa, you can give the number or whatever information you need to give. What can individuals in the community do to help with this program? And then give us the number and whatever else they need to contact. Final word is yours.
Final word is mine. Okay. What can people do? I think spreading the word about this is the key part of this. The more that people can know that this is available, as Sandra said, and know that this is something that's different for people who might feel unsure or scared, or maybe I have a problem, maybe I don't have so much of a problem. It's a nice way of finding out if they want to make a change. This is a nice place to start. So I think spreading the word is the best way to make this
And again,
go
there's
forward.
a lot of people this age group that have, they're drinking. Let's face it, there is, and
Yeah.
there's help available. Can you give us the numbers and whatever else the information?
I'll give the
vital
number on
information.
the screen. It's my phone
Please,
number. It's
Sandra.
505-697-0784.
Anything, any website or anything you want to say, or just this phone number? Say
Just
that
this
one more
phone
time.
number, 697-0784.
All right, ladies, thanks so much. Alcohol treatment for individuals 60 years and older. Alyssa Forsheim, Assistant Professor, UNM Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Sandra Warren, Research Coordinator, UNM Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Thanks so much for being our guest. We sure appreciate a lot of great information.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having us.
You
Thanks.
bet. For the Department of Senior Affairs, I'm Ed Nunez.